Call to order. Are the microphones working? I can't tell. Speaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Very
can hear you
good.
now.
If we could have the roll call. I can tell you that I can't hear you very well, but I'm not the right guy to ask because I don't hear very well.
There you go. Let's try it now.
I can hear that.
Ms. Sherman and Mr. Semino, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, very good. Welcome. All right, Jeannie Beatson will go through the roll call for us. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Steve Shim,
Yes, I'm here.
Frederick Atkins,
Here?
Chris Semino,
Yeah, sure.
he's here.
Here on the phone.
Greta Campbell, Joe Mazurkowitz, Brian Rist, James Dozier, Fred Elliott,
Here.
Joe Caddy, he's absent, Dennis Perlman,
Here.
Michelle Perez Macias, I don't think she's here. Sia Sherman,
Here.
and Dan Severson. He's not here.
Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, and that is a quorum, am I correct?
7, 8, yes.
The prior meeting minutes were sent to you all on April 14th, and I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move the prior minutes.
Thank you. Any comments about the minutes? All in favor for approval? Aye. Think it's unanimous. Public comment, or is there anyone here from the public that would like to make comment to the committee? Hearing none, we'll move along. And Amy, I'd like to turn things over to you for a review of the sales tax funded projects, please, and your staff.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending this evening. We did send out the information and the presentations and the financial statements attached to those yesterday, hoping everybody received those. Just want to go through very quickly here, and then we'll get to the heart of the matter. You've seen these numbers before, so as you know, our capital budget for this fiscal year, FY21, at $453.8 million, and sales tax making up 32% of that budget, so a very significant portion. We always report back to you on how that's budgeted in the 4 categories that we had committed to the taxpayers of how we would spend this sales tax money. So you see that spread here. A pretty even spread between the 4, and then we have a 5th category for our reserves at 17%. And so first we want to talk about when we break down our sales tax projects. We will talk with you today about all of these, our new schools and major renovations, major projects over $1 million, and then other projects including safety technology and other specialized maintenance projects. So I'll start with the new schools and major renovations category, and I'll invite up to the dais here Mr. Scott Rickenbacker, who is our Director of Construction, to give some details related to that. I'm not sure if that's working, that mic, Scott, so you can check it, and if not, you can come up here.
Come up here, Phil.
Good evening, ISSOC Committee. Scott Rickenbacker, Director of Construction Services. This is your quarterly update for new school construction. Obviously, Gateway High School, we had a ribbon cutting ceremony. It was substantially complete on March 26th of this year. The principal and her senior admin staff are in there now working in the facility. Furniture is loaded in and they're preparing for the start of the school year. We also are in construction and we're getting ready for our substantial completion by contract. It's July 15th. The furniture is loaded in the building, and as soon as we are done with our substantial completion and our C of O, The principal from the old Lambs will be moving into what we are calling the new Lambs on Sunrise Boulevard. And we expect him to start moving in probably around the end of July. But his furniture will be loaded. His teachers' belongings are already in the classroom, stacked up. Their personal belongings for the classroom, so that'll be opened also for August 10th, start of school. J Elementary, we've already begun. We've got contracts in place for our 3 architects, construction manager, and building official, which is part of our phase construction. We bring everyone together for value engineering as we go through the design of the project. Phase 2 will begin when the GMP is submitted to the district. I come back to the board for total project cost. We did a little different concept here. We're already putting the addition on MM building. That new school I just told you we will be opening because of the demand and the seat capacity need in the East Zone. We have a 12 classroom addition that'll be added onto MM Middle School. We had some leftover contingency that we wanted to utilize, so we did the soils improvement. You might have heard of it as vibro compaction and so forth. So in order to get that dirty, nasty work done before the kids are in the school in August, we did all of the soils improvement now under the current MM contract, so that when we start the J and MM addition, which we're just starting design in, that dirty, ugly work up against the occupied campus will have been done, making our life a whole lot easier out there.
Would you mention where J is?
Pardon me?
Would you mention where J is, the location?
Okay, my architectural skills, you can see the red dash to J, that's my handicraft. Obviously, I won't be an architect. That will be the footprint and the outline of the elementary school. All of our South Florida water management and water capacity on the site was accommodated in the MM build out, so that's all ready to go. We go there, put our casting beds in, and start building. So we've got about a 10-month design for the elementary school, taking our original elementary prototype and updating it for current code, and about 8 months for the addition portion that will look the same as the existing MM school. Next, we have what we call quadruple A. Now, this was formerly middle school N and K, which we were building in Estero. We have now joined those 2 projects. We're calling it A pre-K8 in Estero. It is a combination of our 2 prototype elementary and middle schools put together into one campus program. And those contracts I'll be going, we've been doing design. I'm coming back to the board. Well, we just went to the board the other night, I apologize. And we got phase 1 approval, which was basically enveloping the money from the original phases, combining it in the architect. But we did a little different. We found that the market right now, Amazon has evidently bought all the bar joist inline productivity in the United States for the next 12 months. So we're doing a pre-purchase of our structural steel, our I-beams and shapes, in order to make the schedule of an August 23 opening for this AAAA campus. We have to order the steel now and have it fabricated, or we will never have it in time for the project schedule opening. So that's a little bit different in our phase 1. Our phase 1 was always just design. This time it's design, and we've approximated about $4 million for the structural steel purchase on there, so we can stay on schedule. Riverdale High School expansion, there's going to be a major expansion at Riverdale High School. We have programmed in $41.5 million. We just began, contracts have been let, and our phase 1 was approved by the board, and we are in the design process for a site master plan for that campus. Roofing projects, we just completed 2 successful roofing projects. One is the entire re-roof of North Fort Myers High School, which is completed, and also Cypress Lake High School, which additionally is completed.
Can you speak to the postponement of the projects or the delay? I guess the original end date was 6/20/20, as we have listed here, and went out to 21.
Correct. A lot of the delays from when we anticipated doing it was contract review, having our attorneys revise our contracts. So there's been some delay. We created our own legal department now, so they have been reviewing it, but a lot of that was taking our old contracts that were outdated and getting them up to current status for us. And same thing with Cypress Lake High School, that's done as well. And those were done on time from the notice to proceed to substantial completion for the contract and under budget. HVAC projects we're currently finishing up at Cape Coral Elementary and Fort Myers High School. Those are on schedule and on budget.
Got it. And then,
Fort Myers Technical College, we have just finished up negotiations for those contracts, and we'll begin the design process in about the next 30 days for that campus renovation. It's approximately a $12 million renovation. A new roof at about $2.3 million for that campus, and about $10 million of actually updating the technical college, updating some of the labs, auto mechanics, marine, increasing the size of welding, and moving them around to areas on the existing campus that makes it more workable and where they can expand those particular programs that are doing so well there.
Mhm.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
I don't see anything about, is Franklin Park gonna be part of this, the new construction for Franklin Park? I just didn't see anything. Where are we with that, you know?
Yes, sir. It just came out of the RFQ process.
I've just been hearing a lot about it in the paper and stuff, so that's why I wanted.
Correct. We just, several months ago, we got the Castaldi approval from Florida DOE to move forward with it. Procurement has advertised those projects, and we are now getting prepared to do negotiation with the three board. We have a ranking from the board that ranks the vendors, so we're getting ready to engage in negotiation with those vendors. Once that's done, I come up with a phase 1 and a phase 2 process again, come to the board with a phase 1 ask for that initial seed money for the design, and then the design process starts. And again, we have the building construction manager and the building official involved in the design. The intent of that is to, one, pull out any value added savings we can through the design process, and at the end of the phase, the drawings are reviewed and permitted, so when I go out for a GMP on the street, there's no surprises after the GMP is issued. I have fully 100% complete drawings that have been inspected and ready for permitting.
Okay. I'm just curious about it, because I've just been hearing a lot about it in the paper and everything, and I just didn't see anything up here.
That's going to be a big school for the district because there's a lot of community involvement and specialty centers. I'm not sure if it's United Way.
Community School United Way is partnering with us, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's a whole wraparound school that just isn't just a school-based, it's a community-based program within there, so it's going to do a lot of good.
Okay.
Scott, when will that open again?
Franklin Parks, I'd have to look at my schedule, it's probably 24.
24.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one question. The two schools in Lehigh, the middle school and the elementary school, there's one way into that campus down Sunrise, and there's a Sunrise extension could actually go through to Bell Boulevard. Is there any possibility that's going to occur?
Right now, I know there's been talk about it. Unfortunately, I build schools. If that's infrastructure, I believe that the county needs. There may be partnerships between the school and the county and some of the Lehigh services agencies, but no, not at this moment in time. But you are correct. At some point in time, as the remainder of Sunrise Boulevard gets developed, that bridge connection will have to occur.
Thank you.
Other questions? Anyone on the phone have a question? Hearing none, let's move on.
Thank you.
All
Good
right.
night.
Thank you, Mr. Rickenbacker. So I'll invite up now Mr. Dwayne Alton, our Executive Director in our Information Systems area, who will speak to the safety and technology projects.
Okay, thank you. All right, so safety projects, we typically don't talk in a lot of detail about that, but I've been asked if we could at least break down what categories of services and products that we are implementing, so people have a better understanding of what we're spending our money on. And while we don't talk specifically about which schools have the various technologies completed yet, I can tell you what those categories are. The first category that you may think of when you think of safety improvements, one of them is surveillance systems. And to give you an idea of the scale of the work for the surveillance systems that sales tax money is helping us with, we are implementing, we have gone from a district that had roughly 800 cameras to a district that'll have roughly 8,500 cameras, to give you an idea of the scale of the project. So everything that goes along with that, pulling the cable, software, the storage for all the video, those kinds of things. And the first phase of that, which includes the majority of what we're covering in a campus, will be completed probably right after the first quarter of this fiscal year. So you're looking about October, November timeframe, and that original 3-year project will be complete. Another category that we are implementing in the schools, if you've seen access control systems, similar to the badge swipes that we have over here, we are implementing those in the schools, as well as automatic lockdown systems for safety in the schools. So that's another category of project that we have taken on that was a 4-year project. Another category is the improvement in intrusion systems, security alarm systems. That has also been funded with sales tax funding. Another category that is important to our local law enforcement is the ability for their radio systems to be able to reach inside of our buildings. As you can imagine, just like with cell service inside a lot of our buildings, they're built like bunkers, and a lot of times you can't get cellular service in there. That same issue applies to EMS and police radios, so we are implementing systems to allow that amplification inside the buildings so that those radios work everywhere inside those buildings. And finally, the other category with safety would be the panic alarm systems required by ISSOC's law. It's a law that went into effect last year that requires us to have panic alarm systems where school staff can trigger an alert, and if there is such an event like an active shooter, we use it for more categories of events, but worst case scenario, active shooter, it goes directly to 911 without having to wait for somebody to call and call for emergency help. So those are the categories of systems that we are placing inside the building. So you can imagine everything from the software, the training, the cable, everything that goes into bringing that technology into the schools. So that is just the basic overview of the categories of security solutions. Did you have any questions about those?
Dwayne, I have a question. Are the Lee County schools ahead of other districts across the state in this regard?
I would say that we're ahead in several areas, especially since we began even before the sales tax referendum. You know, we've always taken safety very seriously, but of course, you know, after the Parkland situation, we began implementing with capital funds. The sales tax referendum obviously helped us accelerate, right? Because that would have, a lot of these projects are 3 to 4 year projects to get that for implementation. Those would have been 5 to 7 year projects if we did not have that additional funding. So we were able to accelerate much more quickly than some of our peers.
Cool.
So, and then if we talk about the technology updates, so we have 2 categories there. One is your general core computer technology within the schools, and the other one is what we call our Atlas project, which is the technology, the interactive panels and AV systems in the classrooms. Now, if you recall, we started talking about these way back in the fall, but we didn't see expenditures. And the reason that you saw so few expenditures is that at that point, we were only invoicing out the interactive technology solutions. We were ordering well ahead of time the rest of the technology, because when the pandemic hit, we had serious supply chain issues, and we did not want to go into this summer unprepared for the next school year. So the orders that we typically would place during your February timeframe to be ready for summer, we placed those way back in October. So we talked about those, but you didn't see the expenditures. You're going to see those expenditures start to invoice out now, because all that product is being delivered and being loaded to the schools so that we're ready for the summer. So when we talked about it, you know, it showed $0 expended. That's why it was $0 expended, and you'll see the majority of those expenditures land during the summer. Okay. Any questions about the technology?
Any questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And then next, I'll call up to the dais, please, all of our maintenance individuals to speak about the great maintenance projects that are ongoing. And so coming up, I have Ms. Barbara Cedinho, Mr. Jimmy Thompson, and Mr. James Spurlock.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Okay. All right, so some of the things that we are continuing to work on are cabinets replacement projects, electrical, and we're actually doing an elevator upgrade, as well as one of our schools. We're redoing the piers that are underneath the building because the exterior concrete is deteriorating, so we'll show you some pictures of that. So the current projects that we currently have ongoing at this moment is Colonial Elementary School, Edgewood, and St. Carlos. The first two schools are actually pretty well advanced. We're almost done with those projects. The one that we're finalizing this summer will be St. Carlos Park Elementary School. And then our lighting upgrade projects, we've been continuously working on them, but we have like a new batch of schools that are actually beginning, that have started this week with those upgrades. So at Buckingham Elementary School, these are some of the before photos of the light fixtures that were there. The previous type of lighting that we had there were fluorescent types. As we move forward with our lighting upgrade projects, we're converting these classrooms with LED models. The other reason we're selecting these classrooms is because, as you know, light bulbs with continuing time, they don't have enough lumens as they initially did when you first installed them. So as we're upgrading these, not only will this help reduce the time and the frequency that these light bulbs have to get replaced, because LEDs have that long longevity of time, but they also will be brighter for these classrooms. Now, in particularly, at this particular school, my apologies. With the new models, as you can see, the new LED fixtures, it's almost like the whole panel is lit up within the classroom, versus the old type of lighting systems, where you can actually see the bulbs, as they run through lines within the fixture itself. The other thing that this does for us, the LEDs, is that it reduces the need for additional cooling within the spaces. So by upgrading HVAC equipment, we're doing our roofs. Now we're targeting lighting. That should all help continue. It should also help continuing to keep our electricity costs down per year. The other thing is that LEDs draw a third of the power in comparison to fluorescent bulbs. They're more environmentally friendly. And for this particular campus, when they've selected these models, they actually have adjustable lighting because of the special needs that students may need within this particular campus. So we took that into consideration. The secondary school that we're doing an upgrade project is Hancock Creek Elementary School. This is actually a combination project. We're doing lighting fixture upgrades, which is the whole fixture itself, and we're also doing a retrofit, which means that we're removing the ballast, and because the ballast is still in good shape, and then we're installing new LED light bulbs that are compatible with this fixture. This is a picture of the completed project. As you can see that there's a glow type of effect to each of the light fixtures. The other school that we worked on is Pinewoods Elementary School. It's the same type of fixtures, same type of projects. It's a combination of the lighting upgrades as well as a retrofit. The other advantage of having the LED light bulbs is that it actually gives the space more of a daylight or day bright type of feel. The next series of projects, as I mentioned earlier, that are coming forward are Edgewood Elementary, Gulf Elementary, and J. Colon English. And their target completion date will be end of the summer. As far as Edison Park Elementary School, there were several piers that were identified as being in poor condition. We had engineers come out, assess these piers. They've identified which ones need to be replaced. So we've procured the engineer. We're getting ready to start this project. And the goal for this project is to actually go underneath this building, be able to raise those particular sections, and then replace them with new piers so that the building will be structurally sound again. And the building is sound. I just want to clarify that the building is sound at the moment. It's just that the outside of this concrete pier is deteriorating on the outside. Next part are cabinet replacement projects. This is San Carlos Park Elementary. This is the third out of the 2 schools that we're doing that will be finished this summer. The existing cabinet is about 20 years old. One of the challenges with this campus is that there was a lot of mismatched cabinets. The Formica that was already installed there, we can't match these colors. For instance, in the picture, you can see we have a combination of orange, yellow, and green. So what we're doing now as we move forward is that we're actually standardizing. The base cabinet color is going to be a standard white, and then we have a palette of countertops that the schools can pick from. There's a total of 4 colors that they can install. So we brought some samples to kind of show you what the differences are. Mr. Spurlock and Jim.
These are some of the components that we have. If you want up close and personal, thermofoil doors and stuff, we got the drawer slides that we're using are actually the metal slides with the plywood bottom, face, and back that's put onto it. It's working out really well. They're holding up a lot better than the ones that were previously installed out there. The hinges that we're using are top-of-the-line hinges that we got. Looking for the longevity of the materials that we're using, so we do make this kind of a commitment to in replacing cabinets that we're going to get the life expectancy that we need out of these here to get us our money's worth. You guys want to see these up close? Okay, thank you.
The other advantage of the product that we're actually using, especially with doors, is that they're made out of what they call the medium density fiberboard, and it doesn't warp as your typical cabinets. So this is a great option for us because we want to make sure that our investment will last us, years to come. This is some of the photographs of the new cabinets that have been installed at the school. If you notice in this right picture, there is a different color for the countertop. This is actually in this product here. It's called Starboard. It's a type of polymer material. It's not permeable. So even if water is saturating the surface, it's not going to damage this product here. So we selected to put these in spaces like art rooms. This is the same type of product you'll find in your science rooms, and also in a lot of our wet areas to help protect our investments.
We went that way for multitude of reasons. One of the reasons being slate, it can contain asbestos, so 9 times out of 10, when we needed to remove a piece of slate in the science wing, by a sink, so on and so forth, it would require a possible asbestos abatement. It's under the threshold of the square footage where we'd have to put a notice into the state. However, by going with this product, it's easily to change in and out, and it would not require any type of abatement work for the replacement of that slate. So for long-term purposes, it's a much better buy for the school district, and it's much cheaper and easier to use than the slate product that we've all become accustomed to seeing in science labs and around sinks and so on and so forth.
Here's another set of photographs for the same campus. Again, these are just after pictures, and these are some of our wet areas where we have done the upgrades at. Okay. All right, any questions for us?
Your questions?
Sir.
As a former electrical contractor, I have to ask, what's the payback on the LEDs, the capital investment? I'm sure the manufacturers told you what the payback would be on that capital investment. Savings?
I know
I don't have the ROI with me, but we'd be happy to email that to you.
Yes.
We can more than happily do that to you.
And not only is it better lighting, there is a good return on investment. You'll recover the cost of the capital maintenance long before the product will wear out.
Absolutely, and another side to it that no one really sees here in the district is the disposal of these products. So for example, the halogen bulbs, we just did an abatement of light bulbs that we had stored at a facility off Central Avenue, just to store, just to charge of that, with the company that was disposing them, their cost alone was $14,000. So we will not see that with these LEDs long term. So the ROI, we'll get you the ROI information as promised, but just on the backside, not having to dispose of these products like we typically would with the fluorescent is huge for us, and it saves a lot of time and a lot of assets.
It's definitely the way to go.
Thank you, sir.
Can I just add one more thing? One other thing that we took into consideration for safety reason as well with the installation is that With our retrofit projects, we're making sure that everything's properly labeled, because you can't just put in, like, for instance, a fluorescent bulb and the wrong type of fixture. You know, you can have you can have some type of explosion there. So everything's been properly labeled in both languages, Spanish and in English, you know, for the protection and safety of our staff members as well. Okay. Any other questions for us?
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. We'll email you that ROI as soon as possible, sir.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great evening.
I think next on the agenda is Amy with the financial side of things.
Thanks for working so hard. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, everyone that came to present. Thank you for all that wonderful information. And before I went on with the financials, I wanted to introduce to everybody our new superintendent, Dr. Ken Savage. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you.
So you all, of course, have seen him before. He's been here within our meetings in a different capacity, and now he's here as our superintendent. So I just wanted to make sure everybody saw that and was able to meet and greet with him if you'd like to after the meeting. Based on the financial information we have here, we show our breakdown of all of our collections by month. And so you see kind of how that compares month to month. We did have, you know, in March, quite a little spike here, which you'll see illustrated in some of the later slides right here. So this slide, of course, shows our month collections year over year. So that dark blue line is the very first line of our collections in FY19. That orange line is FY20, and then the light blue line is at FY21. So you see the light blue line, we're riding over almost everywhere else. So month over month, year over year, you can see the comparison of what the collections have been. So, you know, our collections continue to go up, and as illustrated here, we are beating our projections at this point. You see a couple of different data points on here. First of all, since its inception, we have collected in sales tax $189.1 million. Year to date in FY21, we have collected $73.1 million, and that's as compared to the projection, the annual projection of $76.1. So we still have a couple more months to collect. I know this is the end of June, which is the end of our fiscal year, but remember, we're collecting behind. The collection that we just took in was for a couple of months ago, so we still are expecting a couple more collections that will be related to this fiscal year. But this slide kind of shows the month-to-month difference between our projection and what we actually have collected so far this year. So really that difference is about $10.5 million between our projection and what we've collected so far this year, right, year to date. We still have a couple more months left to go, as I said. Now remember, at the very beginning of the fiscal year, we did revise our projection down because with everything going on with the pandemic, we thought that our sales tax collections might be affected. We revised that projection, but then we're beating that revised projection, which is a good thing. Within your packets that you received, you also have both of the financial statements, and I'll pull those up here.
Mm-hmm.
Pull that up just a little bit so you can see. So within this quarterly financial statement, you see the quarterly breakdown of all the budgets and then the expenditures that took place inside of each quarter and the remaining budgets at the end of those quarters. And then in the annual report, let me blow that up as well so you can see it a little bit better. In the annual report, you'll see that breakdown of really 3 years now, fiscal year 19, fiscal year 20, and where we are so far in fiscal year 21, and then an ending column that has cumulative totals of each of these. So for FY '21, you'll see, our total expenditures here of 60.3 million, and then total expenditures since inception of 109.8 million. So some significant progress, and then of course, listed here on the side, all of the categories in which, or all of the specific projects and categories in which that money was expended. So as we go along, this is going to be a nice tracking mechanism to really be able to tell what progress we've made year to year inside of not just the budget for the sales tax, but the expenditures of those.
Any questions from any of the members? And I would entertain a motion to approve the financials as presented to you.
I make a motion to approve the financial as presented.
Thanks, Fred. I thought you'd never save me. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
And a motion, please, to approve the projects that were reported to you as being within the guidelines of the what was voted on by the voters.
I'll move approval of the projects.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I think that does the official business. I've got some, before we open up to other member comments, I've got some odds and ends. The Lehigh Acres Middle School will be having their ribbon cutting on July the 28th. And if any of you can calendar that and attend, it'd be just wonderful. I'm sad to report that your chairman will be chasing lobsters in the Florida Keys during short season, but hopefully some others can attend. At our last meeting, Fred, I think it was you that asked for us to consider doing a press conference versus press releases.
Yeah.
That has not fallen on deaf ears. Irma's working on that, but with the change of superintendents and some of the public relations things that have been going on with regard to that, her plate got real full.
Yeah, okay.
That's not a dead issue by any means. I just wanted you to know that's being worked on and moving forward. Last year, at the end of the fiscal year, the staff pulled together an annual report that is on the website. It ran from when we started this business in 2019 through June 30, 2020. And just to let you know that staff plans on pulling together a similar report from this committee that'll be put on the website to handle this fiscal year. And those are really the three things that I have to update you on as committee members that you might not otherwise be aware of. Are there any other members that have points of interest or would like to make comment? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
I'll move we adjourn.
Yeah, it was an easy one.
I didn't think I needed to give you that big a hint as to what I was looking for.
Yeah, second, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank